So what we do, we are Rick and Crystal, Texas Secured Notes. The long and short of it is we buy larger tracts of land around Texas, 100, 200, sometimes 400 acres at a time. We subdivide it into 5 and 10 acre ranchettes. We sell those with agents on owner finance terms, i.e., we create those notes generally at 10% for 15 years. And now we've accumulated this portfolio of notes that we have that are paying us on a monthly basis, creating a stream of income. Yet, just like Bank of America originates a mortgage and 6 months later they sell it to another bank, we find ourselves in that position needing to recapitalize all the time. So we've originated these notes and we look for other investors that just want to purchase that note or become the lender on that transaction and then receive that stream of income for the next 15, 20 years, all while making, 10% plus on their money.
And that's what was so exciting to me because I don't know if we even talked about it because right now I'm on a mission to get 5,000. You got to start with $5,000 a month passive income, and I'm not that far away. I was just talking to a buddy, Steve, who you might see on the screen there, and that's why I'm excited to. I believe at some point we're going to do some business together because I think you guys can help me create that an additional, passive income stream with, I think, little. I mean, everything has risk. I understand that. But I think you guys, you know what you're doing. You've got a proven track record. And you mentioned, Rick, you mentioned Texas, but I think you've done business outside of Texas too, right? In some other
Absolutely.
areas?
Yeah, we do land in Arkansas as well. And then we actually do single family homes, same type of model with owner financing with originating mortgage notes in the Midwest.
Okay.
So, but our bread and butter has started in Texas with the land, and then we've expanded as well.
Yep.
Got it. Now, you had mentioned 10% rate of return. Is there opportunities to earn even more than that? Because that's damn good. I think I told you currently I earn 11% on, being a private money partner in some opportunities. So I think 10, 11, 12% is good. Is that a norm? Is that a standard for you guys, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a great question. 10% is generally what we write these notes for, i.e., that's what the person that bought the property, that's the interest that they're paying on that note. Sometimes in certain properties, we make our money in the markup of the property, right? We've bought the land, we've subdivided it, we mark it up a little bit and we sell it. So we have a margin in there for us. Every once in a while, we have some that we can discount a little bit, i.e., $100,000 note. But if I sell it to you at 95 cents on the dollar, you pay $95,000 for $100,000 unpaid balance. Your yield goes from 10% goes up to 11%. Okay, so this is like bonds. If anyone's ever studied bond math before, when you pay par value for it, you're going to get the stated coupon value. But if you buy it at a surplus, your return, your yield goes down. If you buy it at a discount, your yield goes up. So that's a long-winded. Sorry, Ben. I probably didn't have the time on this conversation to get into that. But sometimes we have some that we can sell at a discount, and that makes your yield go up, even though the buyer is still paying 10%.
And I would say typically our notes are going to be anywhere from that 10 to 12% range. But I do want to add, when we originate a note, we make sure that every note we go through a third party that vets that borrower. So it's not Rick and Crystal vetting that borrower. We actually have a third party that gives 50 to 250 pages to say, okay, they have the ability to pay on this note. We also make sure that our investors have a lender's title policy. So you're in first lien position. We close at a title company, so you get all of those documents as well. And then we use a third-party servicer because it's amortized. So that borrower is actually sending that third party the monthly payments. And then that servicer sends that payment over to you as an investor. And it's already baked into the cost with the borrower, so that charge isn't on you. So we like to say we hand our notes over to our investors on a silver platter. It's a base hit every time. It's not sexy, but it's something that's just going to be a base hit steady each month.
Yep.
Love it. Love it. Somebody, if you'll mute yourself, I appreciate that. When you said there's a servicer, so every month, does my bank account get hit with some money? How does that work?
Yeah. So you've got the person that bought the property, and they have already begun making payments. We've already set them up. They've already begun making payments. Their term might be 180 months. Some of them have paid 2 months. Some of them have paid 6 months. Some of them have paid 12 months. But they're making a payment every month to this third-party servicer. The one we like to use happens to be Techstar. Techstar receives that money. They escrow for taxes and insurance on behalf of that borrower. They keep track of principal versus interest, because on an amortized note, that changes all the time, every day. And they keep track of any early payments, late payments, any fees that get associated. And then 2 or 3 days after they receive it, they just ACH it to the investor. Or so yes, you do get monthly income, just like a rental property comes in on a monthly basis. A mortgage, somebody is paying that mortgage, and that comes in every single month. But unlike rentals, no tenants, no termites, no calls in the middle of the night. One thing I always like to say is, because we are here in Texas, even when your AC goes out in the middle of August, people still pay their mortgage, but no one calls Bank of America when their AC goes out. So in this transaction, we're the bank. No one's going to call us, but they're going to pay their mortgage.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, and you guys have done not just land and subdividing, and I mean you've bought homes too, right?
Correct. Yeah. I was going to say, just in 2000, we used to do a lot of single family, but just in 2025, we did 18 homes. Yeah. We closed on 18 homes. So our goal for 2026, we kind of have a big goal, but because we're hitting that affordable housing situation, is 100 homes for 100 families. So we're starting right now. We have a contract on a package of homes right now. So we're looking to take down more larger packages of homes instead of just 1, 2 here and there. But we do the very same thing. We buy a property for cash, and then we may buy it, say $50,000, whatever the price may be, but then we turn around and owner finance it to a family looking to be a homeowner and not a renter anymore. And so what we've seen is that it changes the trajectory of that family, those children as well. And for most of them, that's the largest asset that they have. And it's something that they can also pass down to their children as well. Most of them have been renters most of their life. So we're giving them an opportunity to finally have home ownership. We're holding their hand, walking them through what that looks like if their toilets needs fixing, if their hot water heater goes out, something with the roof. We make sure that all those major things are taken care of when they buy that property from us. But in the future, when those things happen, we're there to walk them through and show them how to be a homeowner, how to take care of that home.
I love that. I have found that when you say owner finance, that scares a lot of people. And again, I've done this for 37 years now, and I've done one owner finance deal. And the crazy thing is, I believe that was in year 3 of my career. I don't even remember it. Don't even remember it, right? So how do you get, I guess this is simple, I think. Instead of taking on the challenge of trying to learn it, understanding it, just hand it over to the professional. Hand it over to you guys and let you handle it for me. I think, is that the simple answer?
Well, maybe I'm taking business out of maybe I'm shooting myself here in the foot. But banks have been doing this for hundreds of years, right?
Yes.
They they have their hand in every real estate transaction, but they don't lift a hammer and they don't do anything. But they get that monthly income off of it, and all while holding first lien position. They take the littlest risk and
Yep.
just get an amazing income stream. And you said leaving it to the professionals. I thought you were going to say what we do. We hire good attorneys. We have a third party servicer that services the note for us. We leave that to the professional, right? We purchase a lender's title policy. We make sure that we're in first lien position. That's just a smart investment. And we
vet the bar.
yeah, we go through the RMLO, the residential mortgage loan originator. Look, I'm in owner finance. I want to finance everybody. Here's a home for you. Here's some property for you. I want to finance everybody, but I use a third party to say, hey, no. They don't really qualify. They don't have the ability to repay. You don't want to lend to them. Okay. Well, here's another applicant. We do want to lend to them. And I have a third party looking over my shoulder that says, hey, you got a pretty good opportunity. This is going to be a good loan. If it doesn't, I'm the bank. If it doesn't work out, I still have first lien position on the property. No one likes to talk about it, but we have had 20 plus foreclosures out of 450 properties. We do have to do it every once in a while, but most people, they want to pay their mortgage, right? Most people are good folks, and we do a good job with the due diligence. At least we hire professionals to help us with the due diligence.
Yeah, I think it's just the processes, making sure that you have systems and processes put in place. And we know our strengths and we know our weaknesses too. So we know where we need to hire out as well and use the professionals.
Now, Ben, what you said earlier, now, if you still don't want to do all of that, perfect. Now you can come to us and we've got some notes. We're more than happy to set people up with a monthly stream of income backed by first lien position real estate.
Yeah, it's funny because it is a lot of work. I'm not as strong with the borrowers as our partner is, and he just handles them beautifully. So we just play off of each other's strengths, knowing otherwise I would be the one going, okay, it's okay. I'm the softie. But it doesn't happen often. But if worse comes to worse, we have things set in place where not only us as an investor, but our lenders are taken care of as well and protected.
Yep.
Again, I've heard professional. And again, I also hear stay in your lane, because I think that, I'm risk averse. I've been threatened tons of times to be sued. And I don't want to be sued, right? So I think if you stay in your lane, sometimes that'll help eliminate some of that. But dang it, my maturity is about to kick in, because I had a question I was about to ask, but you know what? It'll come to me. Here's one. What's a normal? Is there a normal in your world, a normal investment? I'm interested, and I say, Crystal and Rick, I've got 20,000 laying around, or I've got 50. Is there an amount that's kind of a norm, or every deal is different? How does that work?
I would say every deal is different based on that investor, but our minimum is 20,000. Saying that, we do a partial note of 20,000 on up. We have full notes that are starting around 40,000 on up as well. So we have a range. We have family offices, we have some small banks, some institutional funders that they'll come and buy packages as well. Or we have the individual investor. You don't have to be accredited, which we love with doing notes. And so you can just dip your toe in with the 20,000, because what we've seen and what we know just over time, our largest investor, he's been working with us since 2010. And so it's about relationship. And so we know when we sell you a note, it's just not a transaction and a one time. We believe building that relationship. And once you start getting your cash flow coming in, I mean, it happens immediately the next month. You're going to start seeing, oh, I like this. I'm not having the headache of someone calling me in the middle of the night, or I have to go fix this or do that. And we start building that relationship, and we're not just going to sell you one note. It's going to be multiple notes. And our largest investor, he used to be an engineer, and that was back in 2010. We had a rental. No, excuse me. That was a fix and flip. Mm-hmm. And we ended up using his self-directed IRA because we could not sell that. We had too much money into it. And so what we did is we used his self-directed IRA funds to then create a note. And last year, I think he lent over 4 million. Yeah. So it's just, again, steady Eddie each month. And
relationships. Again, relationships are rocket ships that we know, and relationships can take us places that money can't. So now you had mentioned accredited. What does that mean to me?
Doesn't need to mean anything to you. You know, these are not securities. And a lot of times when you securitize things, SEC wants to get involved, and they want to make sure people are covered, and that only certain investors have the opportunity to get in on these. They want them accredited, meaning they make $1 million a year, or they make, or what is it, $1 million in assets, or $300,000 a year in annual income. Regardless, these are not securities. Notes are not securities, at least when they're sold individually. If you were to package them together and make a fund, then that is a security. But selling them one at a time, teachers, just like she said, teachers, single mothers can buy $20,000 of a note at a time and don't need that accreditation with the SEC.
Okay. Okay.
And a beautiful thing is we're also the operators of that note. So just when you purchase a note from us, we also originated that note too. Just a lot of times if someone buys a note off the market, they just don't know who originated that note. And so there could be a lot of risk there, but we, as your originators, we help and stay in that note with you as well.
I love it. And so finally, is the normal term 15 years? So if I say here's 50, I got 50K. I hope to have that in 2026. That's a goal, to be able to work with you guys. Is that the length of that? Is that normally 15 years that I'm going to be paid on that, or is that an average, or are there averages, or just so I know how long my money is going to be out there working?
Yeah, great question. Let me just circle back to the two different types of notes we're doing. On the single family homes, we're looking for lenders on the acquisition side, and that's going to be 5 years interest only. Okay. So that's going to be a 5-year term, interest only, versus the land notes that we have bought, subdivided, sold, and created that note. That's a full length mortgage. And we normally write those at 15 years and sometimes 20 years. So we're, and like I said, fully amortized. So we're selling you that. Now, one important point, and a lot of people get stuck on this, is what if 10 years goes by or 5 years goes by and I need my money back out? The bank, think of, if we've all had a mortgage on here, I'm sure you've gotten that little letter in the mail that says you no longer pay Bank of America, now you pay Bank of the Southwest. The bank sold your mortgage, i.e. sold your note to another entity. You
Mhm.
can do the same thing, just like I'm originating the note and selling it to you. 2 years goes down the road and you're like, hey, I really needed my 50K. I need it back out. You've received, 10% plus on your money, every year, and it's come in on a monthly basis, but yet you still have an unpaid principal balance. You can turn around and go out there and trade that with another investor. And we implore our customers to come back to us because we have certain note buyers that like to see, let's say 36 months worth of seasoning on a note. So if 3 years has gone by, anyways, come back to us and we might know somebody who's
Yes.
interested in buying that note. So they're not super liquid. You can't probably get your money out of it the next day, but likely I say they're about as liquid as a single family home. You may sell it in a month. You may
Mhm.
sell it in 6 months, right? That's about how liquid a note is.
Wow. Again, I love the fact that you guys are the first. I've never had anybody on talking notes, and I think real in investment opportunities, especially for some of us that, like I said, my goal is to create more passive income opportunities, and I think that if we expand our thinking and our thoughts, yeah, here's an area that I think has not been that's not as tapped in as some of the other opportunities. And I think that's exciting to me. And I'm so glad that you guys have given us a few minutes just to expand our thinking on this, because I'm sure most of us, or at least most of my friends that are on here, we've not thought about notes at all. And now hopefully we're thinking about it. So and again, I told you our time, it moves so quickly. Um, what haven't I asked you, or what would you love to share with us that you haven't? Or even if it's not really related to notes, what do you anticipate in the market here in 2026? Or just you've got the floor. Share for another few minutes for me.
I think Crystal hit on this earlier. These are not home runs.
Hmm.
These are not, you're not going to make a 30% return, 50% return unless there's a foreclosure and you take back that property and the property value has gone up. But that's not part of the plan, right?
Hmm.
Uh, so these aren't for everybody. There's a certain type of investor that wants to get his hands dirty. They want to do all the work and they want to dig into this. This is more of a passive play. This is not for everyone.
Yes.
This is,
A one-time due diligence.
yeah, you do
Yeah.
one time due diligence and it pays you for a long time,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's kind of important. It's for those people that like that passive income, but don't want to work for it.
I was also going to say, lastly, for us, why we love owner financing. Over 50%, I think now can't get bought at a bank, not because they can't afford it, because there are just so many restrictions and rules. Saying that, that's our hearts and our goals is to help these families become homeowners. A lot of even with land, they want to build their home. They want to have something generationally to give to their children as well. And so we're big in the nonprofit world as well. And so for us, like, this is just a huge opportunity to give families and change the trajectory of that next generation as well.
Well, I love that. And I know you talked, I don't know you well, but I think you clearly have a servant's heart. And you want, I mean, your goal of 100 families, my goal is 61, and to create opportunities and I think legacies, and change the trajectory of a family's lives, because we know the difference between renters and homeowners, even when it comes to wealth.
Yep.
And so I love that. Now your nonprofit. You guys are, I think you're spiritually led. How does your I'd say your main charity, how did that come to be? And how are you led by the Spirit there? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, that's a good question.
This one.
I'll make it real short for you guys. But and by the way, we love to just like reach out to us at any time, and we love to expand. We love building relationships. But long story short, we had adopted our daughter in 2015, and we got her the day that her and her mom were rescued. They were being sex trafficked. And so we got her that day. We ended up getting to adopt her. And that really became a mission for us. And he just said, hey, I'm not going to stop fighting with what our daughter went through. Saying that, we ended up building a place of refuge up in Alaska for women and children that have been sex trafficked. So we did that for many, many years. We also were on the front lines doing a lot of rescue as well. But that's really where it came from and where our hearts came from. And we did a lot of hand holding of teaching them how to even cook, take care of themselves, survive, right? All they knew was survival. So how to live life. So I think that's where that passion comes from. It's deep rooted and very personal to us.
Well, again, I love that. I think it again it speaks again to your heart, and so I'm so thankful that you guys have given us a few minutes of your time today because it's been informative, enlightening to me. Let me ask you this because I know that what I'd call my risk tolerance. I'm a high risk, high reward guy. And so I think that's one reason why I'm interested. But for someone who's a little more conservative, would you also suggest that this is an opportunity that they should be looking into?
Yeah, just like she mentioned in the partial note, the $20,000 small amount, still going to get the same kind of return on it, the 10% return. We take a larger note, let's call it $150,000, and I sell 20 to you, 20 to Alexa, 20 to Valencia. I sell small portions of it, but we also keep 10 to 15% of that ourselves. So we're in that note with you, i.e., if it comes down to a foreclosure, we can step to the front and we can handle that for the group, if you will. So she mentioned it's dip your toe in the water type of stuff. We'll be in it with you, right alongside you. You're still going to get monthly income, still going to come via ACH from the servicing company. We still get to do due diligence with you one time and show you what note you are the lender on, but you share in that first lien position equitably. If you bought a tenth of the note, you have a tenth of the first lien position, but we're in it with you to kind of hold your hands a little bit and walk that through with you. So I think it can be a very conservative and a very slow dip your toe in the water type investor can still do this very successfully.
Well,
And I was going to say, you can use
to it.
your self-directed IRA,
Okay.
trust, whatever on the funds, but it's really, like we say, it really is steady. It's not your exciting investment. It truly is just that monthly cash flow coming in passively.
I think we should learn from those who lived before us. I mean, the Warren Buffetts and those guys, man. They make tons of their money, by nickel and dimes here and there, right? It's not a home run on every purchase they make, and slow and steady does win the race. And I'm looking forward to partnering with you guys if I can talk today. So I think I'm so excited to get into 2026, and I'm ready to rock and roll because you know what? There are a lot of families who need our help. And I think you guys are clearly providing an opportunity. Like I said, I'm looking forward to partnering with you guys. And I hope that you guys who've joined on today have learned a little something. Destiny's probably put Rick and Crystal's information there in the chat. If not, she'll probably do that immediately. But don't hesitate to reach out because again, they're expanding. They're not just here in Texas. They do work other areas, and I'm sure you have. Do you have relationships? Because one of my buddies, he's up in the Northeast. Do you have other contacts for maybe other people who are doing this, but maybe not just here in Texas?
Yeah, we have relationships all over,
Yes.
but we also have investors from all over that want notes that are situated here. You don't have to be here locally to be the bank on a transaction here, right?
And we make sure that the states that we're in, our lenders are protected. So we set up the asset to make sure that that asset and our lenders are fully protected as well.
But yeah, we know some folks around the country if anyone wants to reach out.
Referrals and relationships. Bam. That's it.